special guest, Jim Zielinksi, co-creator of Golden Tee, course designer, sitting with us here. Jim, welcome.
Thank you.
So Jim, we'll do a few different things. We're going to watch some qualifying, some of the courses here.
Okay.
But first, we want to talk about 2018.
Yeah.
So as you were, each year you settle in. We'll start really with the courses. That's what people are interested in.
Mm-hmm.
What was the goal this year when you wanted to do, like, what did you want to do anything different? Like, what was your goal heading into this year trying to make courses?
Well, the goal every year is to kind of give people something that they haven't seen before. So, really, I mean, like in previous years, we travel around the world finding kind of fun places to play. And for the goal this year really is to give them more of those kind of a variety of locations. At the same time, giving them some new stuff to see that they haven't seen before.
Okay, I wanna just break into it because I've just seen it for the first time. We're going to Dubai.
Yeah.
We are going to Dubai, but we're not just going to Dubai. We're doing nighttime Golden Tee.
Yeah.
So where did you get the idea to do that?
Well, every year after we ship our updates, I start researching different places to golf for our next year's version. And this year, I was looking. We haven't really been back to the Middle East since we did our Egyptian course, and I wanted to kind of think of that area. So as I was doing some research, I saw that they're in, especially in Dubai, some of these places get to 120 degrees during the day. Yeah. So they actually will have a lot of night courses with lights because, if you're golfing, playing golf in 120 degree weather isn't necessarily a lot of fun. So they light them intentionally because it's a lot easier, when it's 95 at night than to golf when it's 120 during the day. So I said, wow, that's a really cool look that we could bring to Golden Tee.
It looks really neat. Like, it has the same Golden Tee feel, but it is clearly unique and different. Like, to me, it's going to be like unlike anything anybody's ever seen.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I mean, already artists doing a great job of making the nighttime sky look great, and we're going to have the light poles out there, so we're going to get light emanating off of those.
It's awesome. By the way, if you guys have any questions for Jim, Jim Zielinksi, co-creator of Golden Tee, course designer. If you have any questions, we're rolling through some 2018 stuff now. We're starting with the courses. We already talked about a night course coming. Rhineland, talk a little bit about Golden Tee's venture to Germany in 2018 as well.
Well, that area is another one that I thought would be really interesting. We've done a Swiss Alps course in the past, where it's mainly on the mountain, on the tops of the mountains. And what Rhineland is we're really going to feature the Rhine River, which is a big, wide river. We really haven't done that. I think probably our widest river that we've used up at this point was in Grand Savannah, but this is going to dwarf that. It's going to be like a big rolling lake almost. It's going to be super wide, right in the middle of a mountain valley, and we're going to be golfing around that, but over it and near it, and then we're going to kind of take a journey up into the higher elevations. So
now, Design a Hole is also going to be here, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so what was amazing is, after you picked a Design a Hole winner, I went into your office. I said, "Hey, when's that going to happen?" You're like, "Oh, I'm done."
Yeah.
So it's that's going to be great, and that's going to be on Rhineland as well.
Yeah, I think right now we have it currently slated for hole 11.
Great.
And
Dave Rhodes, shout out to you, man.
And it was a nice fit. Now we are making some alterations to the look. The actual layout of the hole was pretty dead on as far as.
There you go, Dave.
Yeah, as far as distance and the size of the green and everything, all that stuff worked out great. So what we're really doing is the windmill, we're going to kind of give it a German feel, so it kind of matches the decor and the look of the course a little bit more. But other than that, it's dead on what the guys submitted. I try not to alter it if I don't have to. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you have to kind of avoid them taking advantage of certain things, but in this instance, I really didn't have to change much. So.
All right, we move on. It's like Golden Tee trip around the world. Safari Dunes.
Yeah.
Where are we going there?
Oh, this one's a little crazy because we've done the Grand Savannah hole before, of course, and that was in Africa, and it gives us the chance to put the safari animals and that kind of thing out there. So what this does is there's a really cool area on the eastern coast of Africa, and it's right off the Atlantic Ocean of these big, huge sand dunes. And then, but really, literally behind that is a mountain area. So
it's got everything.
We're going to be going from the dunes near the ocean through the savanna area up into the mountains,
awesome.
and then back down to the dunes. It's going to be a lot of fun.
That's like a combination of some of like your favorite things over the years. Like
but it's not one look. This one's going to have like 3 different looks, so it's going to be a lot of fun.
That's great. All right, Calypso Key. We basically we know it's no secret people love tropical courses.
Yes.
So it's like we want to do one usually every year.
Yeah.
And so what is different about this one? I actually just saw some of the first images in your office the other day. So what's different about this one?
Well, we like to do tropical course mainly because they're so popular. The people like it's kind of like an escape.
Yeah.
Getting down to something, especially in the wintertime, in our locations in the Midwest, it's kind of nice to go somewhere warm. So our tropical course this year is in Barbados, and there's a really neat area in northeastern Barbados. Has a very rocky coastline, and I thought that would be a lot of fun. Some of the stuff we had in Rocky Hollow, where you can bounce off the rocks and use that kind of thing.
It's like a tropical rock. I mean, it's like a tropical. That same feel of the ricochets, which we're seeing on Ruby Rock now. It's like you have some of that on a tropical course. Which is really
so
cool.
It's going to employ a lot of that, so it's going to be a lot of fun there too.
Okay, the last one I think is probably the most interesting. Dubai is clearly the most unique, but this one to me I'm maybe most excited about, which is Mayfield Park.
Yeah.
And okay, what is it, and then how did you come up with the idea to do this?
Well, this is something that I've been wanting to do for a very long time. It's been met with some resistance at IT. But, I've always had it in the back of my mind that, we go all over the world, all these crazy exotic places. What I wanted to do is let's do a neighborhood park district golf course. So that's exactly what this is. This is it's an homage to probably the kind of course that most people play, where it's going to be set in a park district. It's going to be pretty basic. There's going to be some areas that where the ground needs to be redone.
It's like a beautiful dump. It's like a tactical dump.
Yeah.
So other objects. I know that some of the artists who work their tails off on this as well. Like what are some of the unique things you might be able to find?
Oh, we're going to be golfing near. It's really close to a residential area, so don't be surprised to see some shortcuts through houses and cul-de-sacs, things like that. We have a big water tower that you have to drive around. It's stuff that you're going to see near a local golf course. So for most people, I think they're going to be able to relate to this a lot.
I am so excited for that. I'm excited because you can stretch your legs out a little bit, do some stuff differently I'm sure you've never done before. Okay, we have 5. Those are the 5 new courses.
Yep.
But new this year, and this is for people who've played the game a long time, I think this is going to be really exciting. We are reimagining 2 Golden T4 courses.
Yeah.
So talk a little bit about we're not going to release what those courses are yet, but this is groundbreaking to me. And again, where did you come up with the idea?
Well, for a while I've thought we've got this data of these old 4 courses that were really a lot of fun to play. The sad part is they've never really been able to. No one's ever really been able to play them with all the equipment and balls and club choices and shot choices that we have now. And there's a lot of people that are familiar with these and like them. So I thought, you know what? Is there a way that we can bring those back, but it's still not make them, obviously we've changed and advanced in our technology. We want to be able to bring those in the best light. Just showing 4 courses, I don't think people would play them because they look old.
So here's the thing about it too, because I've seen a couple of these. They're pretty much exactly the same. Like
dead on.
So dead on. You've taken the course, you've translated it into Golden Tee Live, basically.
Yeah, I don't want to get too technical here, but what we did is we took the exact models of the older courses and we overlaid high-density mesh over those, which allows us to make the nice textures and the nice curves and things, so it doesn't look old.
No, that was probably the most striking thing to me is that it may not have the same polish as some of the new courses, but it holds up with them. Like it doesn't look old. It has kind of that vintage feel to it, and it looks exactly like they would, except liveified. Which is great.
The only real change I made is I expanded the tee areas so that we could use the movable golden tees, where the older courses some of those were so small, there's no way that you could move those around. So I did, other than that, but that's really a minor change. So you'll be able to move those and change that those tees.
In terms of, is there not concern, but it's different now. You have golden tees, you have new equipment. I mean, what do you think people are going to learn new shots? And I mean, is it going to be kind of a different playing experience now?
On these older courses?
Yes.
Absolutely. They're going to play way different than they played before, because you were really limited to the stock equipment. And they're probably going to be easier. Although the other thing that I've noticed playing those is that some of those 4 courses, those greens were very small.
Oh, yeah.
These are not big, huge greens. So I think there's going to be a balance. It's not going to be, even though you have the bigger nicer equipment and the ability to change your shot types and things like that, the size of those greens is still just as as challenging as they were back then. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see when we put them out there.
Okay, so that is what we're doing with the 4 courses and with the new courses.
Now, one thing to remember: those will not be released.
Correct. We're gonna time release them, and we're still trying to kind of figure that out when they're going to come out, and we'll come back and we'll chat about a few things. I wanted to do this since we've launched Build-A-Bag, and having seen just a little taste of it, I think it's going to look awesome. We're not. Jim and I asked Jim about it. Can we add new clubs? Well, we're basically out of clubs right now. We've covered the gauntlet in terms of clubs that you could add, but we are adding some cosmetic changes to clubs that you'll be able to change the club color of your club head, the shaft, and also your grip. And it's just going to be a small, easy change in the Caddy, and it's going to be it looks really good. It's a subtle change, but I think to me it's a way for you to continue to customize your clubs. And by the way, somebody's asking what's the deal on reimagined courses, because we are having some buffering issues. So I'll go into that a little bit more. That comment, by the way, from Mark Tate on YouTube will be over up on Facebook here soon. We're going to hopefully be everywhere. So the reimagined courses, as Jim explained, is we are taking 2 4 courses, 2 Golden Tee 4 courses. That was actually before my playing time, but I know what these courses are, and we'll reveal them at a later date. And reimagined, Jim basically took them, he remeshed them, he liveified them so they look like they belong in live. And you'll be able to use clubs, your Build-A-Bag, your tees, your Build-A-Ball, everything on them. And it's going to be exciting.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay, he's back. Sandwich is good?
It was a very good sandwich.
I'm
a little too much garlic on it, though.
So, well, let's hit on the reimagined 4 courses again, because people are excited. It's a little bit different. We're not exactly sure what dates we're going to release these yet, but we know they're going to be post the launch, because ultimately that first time is about the new courses, like the 2018 courses, and also it gives, from our standpoint, it gives players a reason to come back. That there's stuff to look forward to throughout the year, which is stuff that there's more to that.
Right.
Other things coming. So, but so when you're designing these, is it a challenge, or do you just plop them in and it's like?
Oh, these are easy. Yeah, I mean, originally when I designed them, they're probably a lot harder because I had to measure everything out and make sure that they worked for the club choices. But for these, it was, the whole goal of this was, let's give them the Golden Tee 4 courses that some of our players know.
That's awesome.
With a better look. That's really the whole goal. So that's exactly what this is.
The old schoolers are going to love this. I mean, and it's new. See, here's the cool thing. If you're an old schooler, you're going to be like, it's like the reimagined. You're playing what you saw a little differently. And for someone like me who really didn't play a lot of 4, it's basically 2 new courses throughout the year that you're going to get to play.
Yeah, and what's also kind of fun to see is that they really did play a little bit differently. They were measured out. The greens are a little bit smaller. They're a little bit more narrow than the live courses. So
that's great.
that's something that it'll be kind of new for a lot of players. But at the same time, that's going to be balanced out because they can do all the clubs and shot choices and all that other stuff.
So did you have to make any adjustments with the tees? Like,
Yeah, I had to make the tees bigger.
That's right. You mentioned that.
Right, because the forward, we didn't have movable tees, and we can make them really tiny. So I had to make the tee zones bigger. But other than that, everything should be down to the inch as far as measurements. I mean, it's exactly what we had before.
That's fantastic. I am really excited to play that. And again, we'll have kind of more information on the timing. Before we bring them to the game, we'll probably bring them to other game modes, like, say, a Freaky Friday or Invitationals, or kind of give you guys different ways to play them. All right, we teased it. The new way to spin. A new spin.
Yeah.
Mode into 2018. So what do you have in store for us?
Well, we added the bite back a few years ago, which really
it's great.
was a nice way to add a little check to your shot without really spinning it back past the hole. It gave you a lot of variety. So I really was thinking about, hey, why don't we do this same thing on the other side, on the roll, just to balance that off too. So what it is a new shot type called release, and it's in the same manner that spin was a reduction, or a bite was a reduction of our backspin. The release is basically a smaller version of roll, where you're going to get the added boost by putting some top spin on, but it's not going to be anywhere near as large as what we would get on a regular roll shot.
So I've played with it for probably a few holes, so I don't have a lot of expertise on it yet. But I'll say this, for a casual player, for a guy who's trying to break even par, it's a great way to be kind of aggressive, but not overly aggressive, like a hole one, hole two shot where you can go after the pin, but not worry about shooting it over the hole.
Well, for that guy, it's good if your club distance is just short, and it'll give you a little bit boost without having to worry about going past the hole. But where I really think it's going to be helpful is if on uphill lies where you're going up against an uphill green and you need a little bit more distance than what you currently have, but you don't want as much as the roll. It's just going to give you one more thing in your bag to be able to shoot.
The other thing, so for the casual guy, it's selectively aggressive. For the players that we're watching here, guys like Andy Haas, who is playing live right now as we're talking over. This is a good look, by the way. And you guys, if you have any questions for Jim, myself, whoever, post it. We're on Golden Tee TV YouTube page. We're on Facebook as well. Send them. We'll try and gather them up. But for the guys who are experienced, who want to go in, I still think it's in a mode that you'll use on hole one for the guys here, the World Championship type players, but also on chipping.
Absolutely.
When you're chipping around the green with a 6, 7, or an 8 iron, to get that little boost to help you keep your
even
line.
on short little chips where you want a little, like say you have a short uphill chip. Those are the ones where I think it's really going to come into play, because you may not want roll and get, where
could have used release right there, Andy Haas.
Yeah. Well, if you had chipped that shot, for example, right there, all you have to do is tap it on the green. You're going to get a little bit of boost more than normal. So
those short chips, which can be really difficult, that you're right off the green, I think it's going to be a huge addition.
The one thing we're going to have to kind of educate players on is getting used to is the order.
Yes,
which
no question.
As we add one more spin type, the typical rotation is going to change. So they're kind of used to the same number, getting back to zero again. That's going to add addition. So there's going to be some getting used to with that.
No, that's a good point too, because now in your little arsenal, you're used to the 3-button spin change, and now you have a 4th.
Right.
But truthfully, I think that's something most players will adapt to in a few weeks. But there is a change.
We had the same issue when we added the bite, but they'll get used to it.
All right, so we've got release. Some of the other kind of the fun stuff. We talked about Build-A-Bag 2.0, the cosmetic look. I think that's great because and you've seen some of these too.
Oh yeah.
You watch the PGA now. You watch golfers live. All their equipment has kind of that custom flair feel to it. They have their personality involved. In this, we've got some of the wacky things. But we also have some of like the more traditional, hardcore like golfer looks to the clubs. I think it's going to be awesome. And then one of the biggest changes, and I actually just saw these because we just did some screenshots for these. The effects on the back of the ball, which we had this year, we had poker trips, we had fireworks, we had all the different things. We've kind of, I'd say, that's a great feature for people. For me,
right.
I want kind of that more traditional tracer where I'm following the ball, and we're adding those this year.
Well, we're adding a great variety of those now. Which it's really going to be kind of fun to play around with and kind of customize your own. But it's something that you're going to see on a more traditional golf, broadcast. The tracer, so you can see where the ball is going. It's going to be much more in that vein. Less of the objects kind of like come off of the ball, and more of the tracer line.
Yeah.
But a variety of those, at different
30 colors, I think. It's unbelievable. And they'll adjust based on how hard you hit it. It's going to be great. All right. This is a good question to ask you. And I've asked you this question before, and I've told you I've been asked this question before.
Okay.
Bryant Wiegers wants to know, will there ever be an option to chip from the green or use any club in the green that is not a putter?
No, it just costs too much in green, fixing those greens. No, really, no. I mean,
Never say never,
yeah.
but okay, so when I first started, I came to you and I said the same thing. And your reaction to me was very, very matter of fact, saying, well, why did you hit it there?
Yeah.
And honestly, I really appreciate that now when I look at this. It is a penalty for being in a certain area of the green.
Exactly. Well, I designed those greens L-shaped and different shapes for a reason. And one of those reasons is that I want to make it a challenge to get there where you need to be for a straight putt.
Yes.
And if you can't make it to that spot, then that's intended.
Yes.
It's intended kind of like a sand trap where if you hit it there, it's supposed to be a penalty.
Yeah. No, I'm on the dark side now, so I've come back that way. I used to agree, and now I really hate to say don't hit it there, but I can say that. You don't have to say that.
Or in some instances, you have to bring that into play when you're deciding your approach shot.
Yes.
That has to be something that you think about.
You weigh the risk. You weigh the risk.
And you have to say, well, maybe it's better to get myself in a position where I'm going to have a straight putt than it is getting next to the hole.
Our qualifier, we're talking to Jim Zielinksi now. And we're talking to Jim Zielinski about 2018 or any other things you guys want to ask about. So we can talk now, I think, about player invitationals. One of the things I'm most excited about, we launched it last year, trying to connect players to play each other in personal contests. You can do it on the GT Caddy, which is available for your Apple or Android device. And now we're doing a few different things. The first wave is actually coming next month. We have the Freaky Friday courses, Jim, which have been fun. Mm-hmm. We've kind of mutated your babies that you've made these brilliant courses and combined them, but it's something different every week. We're doing in the daily contest. We're adding Freaky Fridays to Invitationals, which is going to be great. You're going to be able to play. You and I can challenge each other
That's great.
On an all par 5 course, which will be variety. The other thing I'm really excited about, you know how important the look is of a specific, especially with these. You can have an all par 3 course where you have 5 or 6 of the first holes are beautiful looks. Mm-hmm. And so now you'll be able to deal with those different setups on that, which is going to be a lot of fun. But the big change, so that's going to come pre-2018. The big change now is we're opening up our field. You're going to be able to challenge 100-man contest.
Right. Well, I think the first go around with the invitationals was kind of get the technology going where we can link people from around the country playing the same contests of their friends. And step 2 of that is what we're bringing in next, which is to expand on the contests. And we're going to be able to do a more of a real invitational kind of thing where we say, hey, here's what I'm offering. Come and join my contest. And the first certain amount of people in, we kind of. What's great is also we're going to say, like, if you have we could have like a 100-man contest. We're going to say the first so many guys in, and once they're in, that we shut the contest. Because what we're noticing now with the smaller ones is that if you got one guy or the group who just is lagging and
everybody has that buddy,
and it's like then nobody can play, and nobody can get this thing underway and finish. So what this allows you to do is you'll set that and say, okay. I'm going to
first come, first serve.
Yeah, first come, first serve. I'm going to invite 100, but the first 50 guys in, is it much more likely that you're going to get that contest up and running.
That
and
is truly, it's kind of something when we're designing this thing, and it was a lot all at once. You start to see how people use the app, how we use the app. You have that Slacker buddy. Now you have an 8-man contest. You invite 12 people, and you say, who wants in?
Right.
You know what I mean? Who wants in? And then
this whole technology is also going to allow us to have operators run their contests and deal with what they want to do, run their own thing. If they want to run a contest every Thursday night, they're going to be able to do that a lot more easily than what we offered before. So it's going to be great.
A couple of questions while we're kind of bouncing around here. I hear this question a lot. The driving range, Jim. What is your? We talked about it a little bit. I'll give you what it was a fun. It has value certainly, but when we looked at the numbers, there was not a ton of play on it.
I mean, for as much as people want it and want to be able to practice, we have to look at what the players are playing, and that literally was
a percent of a percent.
It was not even 1% of our play was people playing the driving range.
Getting back to invitationals, one of the other changes is. We talked about the increase to 100 players.
Yeah.
Well, we're increasing our total prize pool limit now is what, $50?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's going to go to 1,000.
And that's going to be great.
1,000. Our single player limit is still going to be $25.
Right.
But you want to have a massive qualifier with your buddies or whoever. You can put together a huge invite pool and really enjoy, and then have the flexibility to say that, if this person doesn't play but this person does, you'll be good to go.
Yeah. No, I think it's going to be great because you don't have to limit it to just a few of your buddies. You can open it up to a whole broad swath of people, so it's going to be really cool.
Some other things. New putters. I'm seeing a lot of them around here now.
Yeah.
They look fantastic. Having seen some of the new ones coming, these are going to be great. These are wild. These are weird. The cool thing about it, Jim, I know you're kind of a more traditional golfer.
Yeah.
You can play the traditional golf, or you can do the beer can putter,
which
we have coming, or the hot dog on the stick.
I like the ability of allowing people to customize any way they want to customize. I think that's right. I'm a more traditionalist, but I have no problem with, as long as it doesn't.
It's an option.
Yeah.
It's for everyone.
Right. And I think it's kind of fun if you want to be able to do it. It really, it's going to putt the same way, so it's really a look thing. And
yes.
For that, as far as that goes, I'm 100% bought in on that.
It looks great. I mean, they've been fun. I mean, some of the ideas they've come up with are absolutely wild. And
part of this is entertainment, and it's silly, and same with the hats, and It's going to appeal to different people. And actually, you see it here, too. You have some of these guys who are more traditional with their golfing attire. Yeah.
You've got Andy Haas with a bulldog head. And so I think it varies person to person. You look at guys like Mike Johnson now, who's a big golfer. He's going to wear what he's probably going to wear on the course. And then
which is kind of fun.
Yeah, and then you've got Stu in what the Executioners had. And so I think that variety is great. Going from putters to something that really, I think, that you and I both talked about a lot, that we're really, really excited about, is new time-release tee boxes. So go into that a little bit.
Oh, this is probably one of the biggest changes we've ever had in Golden Tee. And I'm currently designing the holes with these in mind. What's going to happen at a point, much like the retro courses, the ones from 4, is we're going to time release these later on. And what's going to happen after a certain amount of time, we haven't specified the exact date yet, but we are going to release tee areas that currently had not been seen. So that, and these are not, just to let you know, these are not like, okay, right next to the other ones. These are ones that could be
somewhere in
dramatically different.
So
where that hole will play, some of them will change par.
Oh, that's unbelievable. So that will come later in the year. So when all these guys feel like they've mastered the course,
right? We're going to throw them a monkey wrench.
I love that too, because yes, it does get to a point this time in the year where it's May, where you can see some of the scores these guys are posting, and they're just absolutely killing the courses. It is a nice change-up. And it's cool that it's going to be – I didn't know that it's going to be as drastic as you say it will be.
These basically how this is work, we're going to have like it's almost like a platform, a platform that we can place anywhere we really need to. I'm going to create some areas for these on the courses. And based at a certain time point, we're going to switch over to those, and you're gonna now see that hole from a completely different perspective. I did
awesome.
one hole that's going to come from the completely opposite direction. It's instead of going one way, we're coming from like there's a fairway like on the other side of the hole. So.
Wow.
They're going to change dramatically.
That's
and
fantastic.
that's going to be a cool thing to see. That just open it up and see a different look.
Update on the tournament, which you're watching now. You're watching Mike Johnson, Stu Fox. Somebody just went in the water there. Here is Stu Fox. We have our, Jim, we've got somebody actually done, Evan Gossett from Missouri, who is certainly, I think, one of the favorites here. 144 qualifier, which includes 2 30s.
That's unbelievable.
30 on Sandy, 30 on Teal, and 193,000 great shot points. So Evan, we were giving $500 to the top overall qualifier. If somebody beats that, they're going to earn it.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable. That's really, really big and a huge stage for this. Let's see. So we've got guys now playing Teal. We've got guys playing on Sandy. So we're kind of moving our way, trudging our way along here. We've been kind of guessing what the 5-course cut line will be. So a 25 under average would be 125. I guessed about 127, 128. Yeah. Just looking at this now through 3 courses, you had Kevin O'Connor with a minus 74, which is probably a little bit lower than I would have thought. I mean,
it could be tough setups out there.
I think there is too. Seeing some of that. I mean, we're seeing some guys here, and again, it's a little bit different environment. They're not in their home bar, cracking away here. All right, let's talk more 2018. People seem to be enjoying it. Another feature, something that I know you've been a big advocate of, is kind of camera lock. And what that's going to do for somebody. Yeah,
this is a cool feature. We have the quick shot lock right now, where for players who like to, play a little quicker and not deal with the whole progress of the ball. Well, one of the ideas we've had toyed with for a while is we know that everyone has a favorite camera view that they like to access after they shoot. What the camera lock will do is exactly that. If you hold down that button that you like, say it's a top-down or one of the other viewpoints, you can lock that camera. What's nice about that is now every time you shoot, you don't have to
into that mode.
Click that button every time. And then now this is going to be released in the same way that the quick shot is, where you hold it down again, it'll turn it off, or you switch to another button, and it'll switch off. So, it just takes away that one extra button push that people don't have to do.
I have a specific camera that I like, and it's going to be great for me because it's it's sort of ritualistic that I have my combination. But I think to me it's one less thing to do. So I think that's awesome. Corey asks, any change in increasing regional tournaments? Well, we're here with Power of Ending, Steve Sobel, Russ Layton, who are helping us run this tournament. Those guys are working their tails off in terms of taking their games around the country. I don't know if they love the idea of adding more travel, more locations, but I will say this. They are always open to new ideas, new locations, new states. Yeah. So go to pegittour.com, PEGTtour.com, and email these guys. And again, they're always open to listen. If you have some places you'd like to go, then they're for it. Dave Rhodes, will the camera lock impact replays? Like kind of like the way the shot will be shown again, or is it only going to be on the shot?
Normally replay, I think we do a variety.
It's kind of like
I don't know if that'll impact. Probably not. At this point, there's no plans to do that, but that's not to say that we couldn't make that happen.
Yep. Yeah, no, that makes sense. Let's move on. This is actually a radical change. It's down on our list a little bit here. New in-game UI, the whole new look of the game. So what you're looking at right now, as you're watching the World Championship qualifying, is going to have a different feel to it.
It'll have a different look.
So go into that.
Well, a big part of our look that we've kind of strived for is like a lot of people don't realize that we cater to a whole variety of golf cabinets out there. There's still some CRTs out there that have the old 4x3 CRT monitor, and we kind of have to make our golf UI elements match all of that stuff. Mm-hmm. So we're kind of moving away from that as fewer and fewer people have the CRTs and more people are going towards the high def stuff. We're kind of moving our graphics to that vein. So we're creating a whole new, more high def look, to our UI elements.
It's familiar. It's different, but it's not. I don't think it's gonna like when you look at it. If you've played, it's not like you're gonna have to refine everything.
We're
right?
not taking away any information. In fact, we're adding some information, which is interesting. But for the normal look, it's going to be different. It's not going to look the same, but it will, I think, look better and sharper and crisper, especially on the high def.
All right,
monitors.
you mentioned adding some information.
Yeah.
What do you mean when you say?
Well,
that?
there's two things that we're adding, and we're still toying with it. We're still adjusting the sizes of different things.
Yeah, gotcha.
So it's kind of in progress now. But one thing we're adding, which is new, is we're going to give you a hot shot height meter, which currently isn't available. Right now, when you hit your ball, you see how far it's going distance-wise.
Yep.
But one aspect that we can calculate that we don't really give to players is we know exactly how high your ball goes. So this may help a lot of golfers when they're trying to shoot over objects and trees. We're going to show you up until the highest point
what you hit,
how high you are.
I think it's
so
really cool.
You can know. It also helps you with the clubs, so you're going to know exactly how high each club goes, which I think is information that's really fun to have, and it will come in handy. Like I said, when you're shooting over some kind of objects, knowing hey, will this club make it over that?
All the high tees now.
Yeah, all of that.
All the lofted clubs.
Yeah, you're going to be able to see what the difference between a normal tee and a high tee is, because you'll see it right there on the screen of how high that shot goes.
I think that's really. I mean, some of the guys here will. I mean, that's going to be huge intel for them.
Yeah, the other thing we're adding is a display that shows you exactly what surface the ball is sitting on. And this is something that we've kind of wanted to put in there. We've had a hard time figuring out where to put it. But right now, it's going to be nice, especially when you're on the green. When you want to know, am I on the green, am I on the fringe,
rough,
or if you're between the rough and the fringe, you want to know, hey, which one am I on? Because that's gonna make a difference in your shot selection. I mean, you can kind of guess that based on what we give you as far as the distance meter for some of the longer shots. But for the shorter shots, especially within 50 yards, you're going to want to know what you're sitting on a little more than we provide you now. So
people are asking for elevation intel. Elevation intel, which probably would be a little tricky, but it's interesting. It's an interesting point. Is that something at least that is trackable?
Yeah, I mean, the best thing we can do right now is, I think you're going to be able to see the flyby and see exactly relative to where you are, how high or lower something is. We could, it's not a bad idea to add a pin height. What elevation,
relative
how high, relative to you. But once you start golfing on the course, you could be dipping down and going up a hill, and that stuff kind of goes out the window. So really the best thing is to eyeball it and to use the flyby to kind of guess relative to where you are, whether it's higher or lower.
Here's an interesting question, and this is one I like because it gets into the whole marketing. Any plans on increasing popularity with the ladies? Trying to get my fiance into the game so I can play more, which is great. Please do.
Well, yeah, we've got completely brand new golfers this year.
Absolutely, and that gets into the full customization mode now, which I think, male, women, whoever, I think that will appeal to. To whoever.
Our new golfer is female golfer, especially, is much more athletic looking. It looks more appealing than our old. I mean, every year as our technology gets better, we try to offer the stuff that's available to us, to our players. And where we started with our golfers was a different place than where we're at now. So we were able to do more, and we have the ability to give it to our players, so we try to do that.
So we have new models. We have new faces.
Brand new models, yeah.
How
new
many
faces? I don't know the exact amount. I know there's a ton of new
double
faces.
Digits, I think.
And it looks a lot. They look much more natural than they did before.
Yeah, and getting into that is some of the changes that we have with clothing. Obviously, the last few years we've really changed things, and this year we have body suits. So I wrote some down. We have the fat suit for lack of
the sumo suit. Yeah.
Yep. The muscle suit. So if you want to beef up your
Hans
golfer,
and Franz.
Yeah. We have a mascot suit, so you can actually play as a mascot. We have a Speedo. Which, have you seen that? I have not seen it yet.
I haven't seen it. I don't know if I want to see that, but
and then we have a shirtless look, which is just sure if you want to play shirtless. But I guess the general being, we've really kind of bridged the gap from shirts and pants and shoes and hats to total character control.
And we also have accessories this year, which is going to be really cool. all the, that's the categories for the cigars and the cigarettes and all that stuff. Glasses.
Combining it
Yeah.
with stuff you're already wearing,
Right.
too, which is, I know, been kind of a nightmare on the back end. But adding that stuff in on top of some of the clothing.
Gloves.
And again, yes.
Yeah, gloves coming, so it's all going to be really cool.
So that's going to be on the GT Caddy. And then really the last thing we can kind of hit on is some of the casual play changes. I know we're talking World Championship, and these are the most intensive games and players, but there's a huge section of players out there that just want to play golf. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So what are some of the changes coming to the casual?
Well, we're still working on these. One of the things that we're adding is the ability to actually smoothly turn, which is a controversial thing. A lot of our advanced players like the ability of having that advanced knowledge of exactly how to do in-between shots. For the casual guys who aren't that, I don't know if it's that important, and we want to make it as easy as possible on those guys.
Absolutely.
So really how it's going to work is very simple. It's if you click the left-right buttons, it's still going to turn the old way.
Yep.
And everything will be fine. But if you hold that button, we're now going to slowly be able to smooth scroll between the steps.
Yes.
So, for example, if you have a left 2 wind, instead of having, for a casual guy, having to figure out an in-between shot for that.
You can turn right into it.
He can just turn right a little bit, just barely, and be able to still shoot a straight shot. So
it's great.
Yeah.
And just the goal here, like you said, is player experience for the guy that wants to go once a week and just feel good about the way he plays and doesn't necessarily want to compete with these guys. It's more of an experience. We're also doing now this is kind of interesting too, for the casual guy who may not be aware of this world, and not even this world, but you and I playing online in stats play or
Right.
sort of the traditional glory contest. We're going to offer up kind of a starter pack. We're going to give away some of our goodies to get you going.
Yeah, we want to make sure that even though, and some of them might not be interested. There's some guys who play their neighborhood bar and really have no inclination or need to advance beyond that and go into the registered mode and stats and prize play. That's fine. But what we want to make sure is that they at least get a taste of what it's like. Let them know what they're missing. So
it's an option for them, right?
Yeah.
It's not in their face. It's a way for us that if you are thinking about making a switch to an online plan, I say that really, you don't have to be playing for prizes. You can be playing online to track your stats.
Exactly.
There are levels of competing in this game, I think, that...
Or just to use golden tees, which we don't offer in casual mode.
You want to use your caddy. You want to do all of those things. So certainly that's part of it. But I think that I'm really
I think it's going to give them
that.
an incentive to at least try the stuff, and because we want to grow the prize play and the registered base as much as we can.
Okay, so that is a taste of 2018. Jim, before we let you go back to eating a sandwich, or hopefully
I'm done.
relaxing, but okay. Turkey sandwich is good here at High Scores.